Brandon Swanson was 19 years old when he vanished without a trace. It was the night of May 14th, 2008, in Marshall, Minnesota. Brandon had just finished celebrating the end of the college semester with friends. He wasn't drunk. Witnesses said he'd had a drink, maybe two, but nothing excessive. Just a quiet, normal evening. Around midnight, he got in his car and began the 30-mile drive home to his parents' house in Marshall. He never made it. At 1:54 a.m., Brandon called his parents. He sounded calm, slightly annoyed. He told them he'd driven his car into a ditch. No injuries. The car wouldn't budge, but he said he was fine. He just needed a ride. He told his parents he thought he was near Lind, a small town just southwest of Marshall. They got in the car, drove to where he said he was, but he wasn't there. They called him again. Brandon stayed on the phone with his dad for 47 minutes. During that call, he kept describing landmarks, fences, gravel roads, trees. He said he saw lights in the distance and was going to walk toward them. He kept insisting he knew where he was, even though nothing matched. Then, just before the call ended, Brandon suddenly said, "Oh shit," and the line went dead. That was the last time anyone heard from Brandon Swanson. His phone remained active for hours afterward. Calls rang, went to voicemail, but there was no answer. When authorities tracked the phone signal, it revealed something deeply unsettling. Brandon had not been near Lind at all. He had been 25 miles away, near the town of Taunton, completely off course. No one knows why. Search teams combed the area for weeks. They found his car, neatly parked at the edge of a gravel road near a field. No damage, no sign of a struggle, no blood, just an abandoned car and an empty road. Cadaver dogs traced Brandon's scent to the edge of a river nearby, the Yellow Medicine River. Divers searched. No body. Investigators believe Brandon may have fallen in and drowned, but if so, why was his body never found? Others believe something more sinister happened, that someone intercepted him during his walk, that the lights he saw in the distance weren't a town, but a trap. To this day, Brandon's body has never been found. No evidence, no belongings, just a voice on the phone, alone in the dark, describing a landscape no one else could see, and one final exclamation, moments before silence. Oh shit. What did he see? What happened in those last seconds? His parents still keep their porch light on every night, just in case. Because until a body is found, they say he's still missing, not gone. Skylar Neese was just 16 years old when she slipped out of her bedroom window one warm July night in 2012, and never came back. To those who knew her, Skylar was smart, witty, a straight-A student with a sharp tongue and a soft heart. But behind the smiles and school photos lay a darker story, one that would unravel into one of the most chilling betrayals in recent true crime history. Skylar lived in Star City, West Virginia, a small town where everyone knew each other. She had two best friends, Sheila Eddy and Rachel Schoaf. The three girls were inseparable, sharing inside jokes, late-night texts, and all the typical teenage drama. But something changed. By the summer of 2012, cracks had started to show. Skylar began feeling like a third wheel, an outsider in her own circle. Her tweets grew cryptic. "You doing like that is why I will never completely trust you." She posted another, "All I do is hope. I hope too much." She was hurting, and nobody knew how deep that hurt would go. On the night of July 5th, 2012, Skylar waited until her parents had gone to bed. Then, at 12:31 a.m., surveillance footage showed her sneaking out through her bedroom window and getting into a car parked just down the street. She thought she was meeting her friends, but they weren't her friends anymore. When Skylar didn't return the next morning, her parents were panicked. They called the police, hoping it was just a runaway case. But days passed, then weeks. No signs, no leads. Just a 16-year-old girl vanished without a trace. The last confirmed image of Skylar was that grainy security clip from the apartment complex where she lived. After that, it was as if the earth had swallowed her whole. Her parents distributed flyers, pleaded with the media, and chased every rumor. Her mother, Mary Neese, said, "I knew she didn't run away. Something bad happened." Still, Sheila and Rachel acted shocked, concerned. They cried in interviews. Sheila even tweeted, "No one else can ever be like Skylar." But their act wouldn't last forever. 6 months later, Rachel's shoaf cracked. On January 3rd, 2013, Rachel walked into a police station and confessed to something unthinkable. She and Sheila had lured Skylar out of her house to kill her. Why? Rachel's answer was chilling. "We just didn't like her anymore." The girls had planned it for weeks, hidden kitchen knives under their clothes, agreed to stab on a count of 3, and drove Skylar into a remote wooded area near the Pennsylvania border. Skylar had no idea. They laughed and joked on the ride, but as soon as they reached the trees, they attacked. Skylar tried to run, but she didn't stand a chance. They left her body in the forest and covered it with branches. Rachel led investigators to the scene. What was left of Skylar's body was discovered in March 2013, 9 months after she vanished. Sheila Eddy was arrested months later. Neither girl showed remorse in court. Both were charged with murder. Rachel Shoaf was sentenced to 30 years. Sheila Eddy received life with the possibility of parole after 15. To this day, there's no clear motive beyond jealousy, pettiness, and a teenage grudge taken to its darkest possible extreme. Skylar's parents have since worked to change laws surrounding missing children. In West Virginia, Skylar's law now ensures that an Amber Alert can be issued even when an abduction isn't suspected, just when a child is missing and in danger. Skylar Neese was a bright, kind teenager with her whole life ahead of her. Her story reminds us that the people closest to us are not always who they seem, and that sometimes the monsters we fear wear familiar faces.